two,
Sounds
1,
good to me.
2. Me too.
All right, here we go. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Blackout Test Podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
and we are live. We're no longer in the same place though. Karen's back in Charlotte. I'm in New York still. You may have noticed that we did some episodes. We did one episode maybe over a week ago. And
Feedback
then
episode.
we didn't have any episodes since then. It's just honestly, I just wanted to enjoy Karen while she was here in New York.
Hmm. I had a good time.
Yeah, I didn't feel like recording and stuff. I just thought, hey, why not just hang around and just do stuff. And it was already enough with me working every day, so it wasn't like before where I was off most of the day. So you have a limited amount of time you can spend together anyway. So I was like, these niggas I understand. And so we just basically hung out and and did stuff and enjoyed each other's company and stuff. So that's why y'all didn't get a show over the last couple weeks or whatever since the last time we recorded. But yeah, that's so if y'all were wondering, that's what happened.
Yeah, and I think that it was. I had a good time. It was fun and it was enjoyable, and I think that I'm actually glad because I wouldn't have minded recording because we had everything set up to record,
Mm-hmm.
but I really did enjoy your company doing some of the things that we did when you was here. Particularly, y'all know we love the Hornets, so actually sitting and watching the Hornets games with you, and I got to see what you were talking about because we don't have that feature. The feature here, whenever you're watching the basketball games, Roger has a feature where you can actually see the halftime show, like everything going on in the arena at all times, and it don't actually switch you to commercials, which was really
Yeah,
really neat.
it's NBA League Pass, and it's just if you get the digital version where you can watch, because you can watch stuff on like your Fire Stick, your Xbox, whenever you're streaming it. And yeah, it's so cool when they don't cut to commercial and they just show you whatever the arena's doing. And so we had a lot of fun with that because those games are funny and the people are funny, and you
Yes.
play along with them and stuff like that. And you see
Hmm.
how many versions of the same shit they do at every arena.
I looked at Roger. I
So
was like,
fun.
"Oh, this must be the standard. Like they must like you got to hit this note, this note. You got to give a cash giveaway. You got to drop something from the ceiling. You got to give a like." I was like, "Oh, so they the only difference is the mascots are different and the colors different, and they might have like a different variation of it
Yeah.
of the thing." But I was like, "Oh, so they just give them a list, and even the announcers talk the same." Because it's hilarious. Whenever the home team scores, they be like, "And Miles Bridges," and then
Mhm.
the other team they be like, "And Scottie Pippen." Like,
Yeah.
like it's just I don't know. I know that might sound stupid, but I've just realized like they all do that.
Yeah, it's so funny when you watch it and you're the away team
Yes.
and you're watching the other arena's broadcast of your thing. And so yeah, before when they're doing the lineups and they're like, guard 6'6"
So crunk.
from Michigan State or whatever. And then when it
Yes.
gets to your team, it's just like Terry Rozier,
Yes. You be
uh
like, "Oh, my team
Jalen
matters
McDaniels
too."
at small
Mm-mm.
forward, Jalen
Mm-mm.
McDaniels. It's the
Mm-mm.
shadiest shit. I love it. It's the shadiest shit. And they do shady shit like that throughout all the games. Like
I
even
know.
when like and so I don't know if they still do this, but in some arenas when you miss a free throw, they'll play like a sound effect or some shit, oh, or something like that. And not for their team, but for the other team and stuff like that. I think it is kind of funny. But yeah, and so we'll walk y'all through the stuff of the week
Mhm.
and just get that out of the way. That's probably mostly what this podcast episode is going to be. Is just
Right.
us talking about the New York stuff that we were doing. But yeah, that's why we didn't have a show. And then show note for premium people, Balls Deep from now on will probably have to be on Wednesdays because Thursday is just going to be a day that it's going to be hard for us to record not but just because with game theory being on Fridays, Thursday night, there's chances that there's breaking news, there's last minute changes to a script or something. And so we have to be around a computer that night just in case some shit pops off. And it may be the kind of thing where it pops off and you have to drop everything and go like work on something. So we'll be doing Wednesday from now on, and obviously play it by ear. Everything is play it by ear at this point. If some emergency happens, then we wouldn't have a show, but I anticipate being able to have a show. Been out of there on a really consistent schedule. So that's just like a heads up to people that are fans of that show. And of course that show may or may not, it may be more like bi-weekly than weekly, and I'm sure y'all can understand all the circumstances around that. But I
Mhm.
like to give a heads up rather than to just be like surprising motherfuckers where it's like ain't no show. So we'll
I would have
definitely
wrote
be
in,
doing
but I didn't realize you was a day off.
right. And I think that might be it for like show announcement type stuff. Everything else is going to be about the same as it was, just of when I came to New York the first time, where it's like feedback shows will be every 4 or 5 episodes, but it might take 2 weeks to do 4 or 5 episodes instead of one. So we'll just all play that stuff by ear. And yeah, that's about it. So I guess we can kind of get into the New York recap, but let me play a little bit of music so we can know what the transition is,
Okay.
and then we'll add it in later. I like that one. All right. So,
I like that
how
too.
how was the flight down, Karen? And was everything okay with the airport and all that stuff this time?
Yes, the flight coming up was simpler. And I just me because me and you had kind of talked about this. I think I had got in my own head. So coming up when your mom had dropped me off, they have the people up front. They be like, "Yeah, I check your baggage is in for you." But the line was long, so I was like, "Well, I'll go in and I'll use the computer, the kiosk."
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I was being a big girl and walked my ass in there. Was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna use the kiosk." I was like, "Dee dee 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 dee," and I knew something was supposed to print out, but it didn't. So I was like, excuse me, was something supposed to print out?" They was like, did you tell it? I was like, "I don't know." I was like, apparently I did not tell it to print out my thing for my carry on. Not my carry on, my under the airplane luggage mode. It just printed me out a thing, said, here you go, bitch, get on the plane. I was like, no, I know I needed some additional to that. So
Yeah, I think it's interesting because those things. I think a lot of times people get intimidated by doing that kind of stuff, but it's kind of interesting that they have people there to help you out, but they always seem like it's so routine to them that they forget it can be overwhelming for some people. So they're always, just like kind of above it. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad everything. It's not like you lost your luggage or anything, so it's good that you got it printed out and got on the
yeah,
plane in time.
and it was hilarious. They were very, very helpful. Like, and honestly, I think that they probably seen me looking at it. They was like, she's probably gonna come over here and ask a question because they probably see that shit all the time. Because I was looking all crazy, going, what's happening here? And so the lady, she was really nice. She walked me back and she actually kind of reprompted because the thing is, I didn't know you can go through that thing upteen times and update it and all that shit. So I
Mm.
she went through and she was showing me where the button was to add the badge because I just went through the prompts, and I think that I got in my own head and kind of panicked looking at everything
Mhm.
coming to me and shit like that. So that's probably how I ended up skipping it. But she walking me through it and everything, and it made it made me kind of nervous. I'm like, okay, I'm already fucking up. I'm the old person at the airport, and not really holding up the line because there's 45 of them. So it's not like you were holding
Yeah,
up the line.
I just this is one of the reasons I just did a little curbside check in because To me, it's just easier to hand them my shit right there, and now I'm walking through the airport unencumbered with no extra bags on me or anything, unless I want to have them. And so that's I just immediately do that shit right away and just get it over with, because yeah, it can be nerve wracking, and then you know the person could be having an issue. It could be a line, it could be a machine down or something. It's just easier to be like, y'all take it. And for the most part, it's worked out for me, you know. So
Yeah, and like I said, the
mhm.
only reason why I passed them because I looked at when I was like 5 people, and I was like, I don't feel like that was one thing I looked like I don't feel like waiting. So that's the biggest reason why I
Yeah,
had
I understand. Yeah.
went in and other than that, got on a plane. Everything was cool.
Mhm.
Um, no problems. I think I going up there. I sat beside businessman because he had like them I got work to do shoes. Like when I get off the plane, I'll be going down to Times Square to have a
Mhm.
meeting shoes on. And so got through that, and the Uber ride was cool.
Yeah.
I did the thing where you can share, and I really like that feature where
Mhm.
you can share. Now I have mine set up where I don't have to individually pick. You can kind of, you know how you have like favorites on your phone. You can have like favorites for you to share. So as soon as it sees like you've got in your ride and you open it up, it was like you want to share. So I hit the button and it automatically shares. For right now, I have it set up to share with you and your mom, so
Mhm.
y'all can literally see me get to the airport, get back, and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, this is a cool feature for people that you consistently want to know where you are.
Yeah.
Particularly, me being by myself. Like if I was with you or something or with somebody else, I wouldn't even worry about it. But with me by myself, and it hadn't been a problem at all
Yeah.
with any of the Ubers.
Yeah, and it helps too, the because you can tell when someone's gonna arrive somewhere and all that stuff. So you can be like, okay, they're about 5 minutes away. Let me go downstairs or whatever. So, yeah, but I'm glad that you got here safe and that everything was cool. And I was happy to see you, and like, glad that everything went well, and that it was on a this time on like a Sunday or something, as opposed to like during like last time I was at work, so I wasn't and then your flight got delayed, so I wasn't here. And for me, it's like, if you take an early flight, I'm gonna be up anyway, just because I want to make sure
Ah,
you're here. If there's anything that you need that happens, like even when you flew out this morning, I know you got up and got out of here about 5, but I was basically up for the morning. Like I'll probably go to bed after we record this, but because
okay.
my thing is I wouldn't have been able to really sleep anyway, just so it's like I might as well just
Right,
make
and I
sure.
didn't want to disturb you, so that's why I just got on up and started, because I
No,
basically
it's fine.
packed, but it was a few items,
It's
and I
fine.
was like, well, I know he got to go to work and he's resting and stuff. Just me, just trying to be really considerate.
Yeah, but I knew I was gonna walk you out and stuff and say goodbye and all that stuff. So that was, I enjoyed that. And then what else? So then I think I had to work most of the week, but you got up to some things while I was at work.
Yeah,
So tell the people the kind of stuff you were getting into throughout the week.
I did. I had a ball. Because I think Monday we chilled. Sunday we chilled too. Sunday we
Yeah,
chilled and
Monday I had off because of MLK. And so, we did like some regular stuff, go to the bodega and,
I seen a bodega cat.
yeah, and get a bacon, egg, and cheese, or you got a chopped cheese this time.
Yes, and I found out that the chopped cheese is hamburger meat and not a cheese sandwich is chopped because that name is so confusing. I
Mhm.
was like, why do you call it chopped cheese and it's not a cheese sandwich? I don't understand. It make
It
no sense.
probably stands for chopped cheeseburger.
That's what everybody was saying. They was like, we so
Mhm.
busy we didn't even have a word for the burger. I was like, well, the burger is the most important part of this chopped cheese process.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because you got like a chopped cheese breakfast sandwich, and so it's probably not a traditional chopped cheese, but it was really good,
It had an
and I
egg
enjoyed
and
it.
everything. It was flames. It
Mhm.
was so good.
And then when we tried to order it the next time, she ordered a different kind, but apparently this bodega was out of hamburger patties. But then they
Okay.
tried to like they was talking in Spanish, so they kind of knew we didn't understand. So they behind the counter told one of the dudes, I could just decipher from the context clues.
In the
They
language, yeah,
told
or just
one of the
body
dudes to
movement,
go
yeah.
buy. They told one of the dudes to go buy some hamburger meat, and they gave him some money, and was basically like, hurry back. And then it took like 10-15 minutes, and it got obvious that he was not gonna make it
Gonna
back
make
in
it.
time. And so they just
This is
told him,
not Speed Racer.
yeah, turned the camera, was like, hey mommy, we have no hamburger or whatever, no patties. And then they substituted in like some turkey, and Karen had a chopped cheese that was turkey.
Mm, it was still flames
That was
though.
still real good. It was
Mm-hmm.
actually really good. I enjoyed
It,
it.
it was. I was like, oh, I was like, ham turkey. He said turkey. I said turkey fine. I was like, you probably stressed out, waiting. So I'm good. So I was like, it don't even matter. But that shit was still flames. It was a chopped turkey sandwich and on one of them buns, and that shit was good.
Yeah. And just as a heads up, I just got a text from Keith Malley that said that he didn't get the show description for yesterday's last week.
You fucking
So
kidding me? Sorry.
I guess
It's fucking
resend that
kidding
to
me.
him when you get a chance.
If I do,
Um, but
hold on.
yeah, it was cool going to the little bodega spot, because we had like the uh like once we started going there a few times, like you start getting a little routine and seeing the guys in there and all that stuff. And it's always interesting because they have the most interesting snacks and drinks combinations and stuff. It's a bunch of shit I just couldn't find or didn't see in Charlotte. Maybe I don't hang out in convenience stores enough, so maybe we have them and I just don't see it. But it's all like dry grape ginger ale and pineapple Fanta and a bunch of shit that I don't ever see anywhere else. And then these snacks, they had some snacks that were called Bimbo. That's who makes them. And I was like, a lot of slut shaming going on with these snacks, but I guess like Latino snacks or Mexican snacks of some type that we just don't get down
Get
south.
here. Yeah, y'all
I
have
tried
very
some of them bimbo cakes, okay? I was smashing
not
them
the
bimbo cakes to
bimbos.
smithereens, okay? Getting all up in
Yes.
them bimbo cakes.
Bimbo cakes were absolutely delicious. That's one thing that I do really, really like about being up there. You can find a lot of shit in there that's just there. Who is that man? Harvey's or Haley's, whatever that man is. He got like the water and let's start with an H, baby. I don't remember the name of it. Water and chips.
I
He
think
was
it's like House or something.
Yeah,
I
House,
don't
New
know.
York. He was
Yeah,
like, "You're in New York," and so everything was House, New York. All them shits was flames. I don't know who
yeah,
you is, Mister House, but you delicious.
yeah. They got seltzer water. They got just regular like water. Yeah, I love that. I love that water. So yeah, we did just regular stuff like that. And then I know you went to the like nature museum or something like that, or the natural museum. I don't know what it was called.
Yeah, I went to the let me look it up because honey, I've been tearing that up. Natural the Natural
Museum of
Museum,
Natural History.
yes, in
Okay.
NYC, something like that. And
Mhm.
uh I went there and I had a ball because Roger was at work. So I got to go around and it was actually easy. You ordered your tickets online, and it gave you a time. And because I thought, okay, I'm gonna be there, and I need to be there at that time. But I think because the museum is so big, they stagnate for people to arrive, just so you won't have floods of people kind of showing up at the same time. So they
Mhm.
kind of make people pick time ranges, so you won't kind of overwhelm the museum
Mhm.
because I was there like 15, 20 minutes early because I was like, well, I want to be sure I'm there on time. I don't know what the line's gonna look like, and all types of stuff. And so when I got there, they was like, "Do you already have a ticket?" Which I did. You basically take your ticket and put it like a little scan bar. And so I took my ticket, and you basically walk up there. They say, "Boop." I was like, "Oh, y'all do that to do people." I was like, "As long as you got a ticket." I probably could have got there first thing and they opened up. They didn't care. They probably, like I said, they stagnate the time. So everybody won't flood in there at the same time. Because I know most people like me will probably come at whatever time that they're scheduled
Hmm.
and shit like that. And it was consistently buses always out in the front. So it was like PS 52, PS 138, PS 752. All the PSs was there going around the building, and they one PS got dropped off, the next PS got picked up, and I'm pretty sure some people had it on their tour, like like how you go around the city. It was consistent buses around the building, and I got in and I just began to just walk, and it was like a man there, an older man, and he had like he had old school maps. I'm pretty sure I could have got it on my phone, but I'm ancient, so I was like, well, shit, I know how to use this map. And I think their app was kind of a little harder to use, so I couldn't really figure that. Like, they didn't have some where you could just scan it and it would just kind of map it out for you. It was like, well, you got to, I don't want to do all that. So I picked up that man's map and he was like, remember you're on floor 2. So I made him in a note. So glad I remembered I was on floor 2, because I'm pretty sure he would probably get lost. And because they have multiple exits too. Some
Yeah.
upstairs, some downstairs, all around. So I made him in a note. I was like, okay, let me remember this so I can go out on the same street that I entered the building. I'm pretty sure I could have got off anywhere. But the quickest route back is the route I went versus getting off 4 blocks down the corner or some shit like that. And so I went in and just started walking and looking, and I got to see all types of Native American stuff, all types of African stuff, Asian, different parts of Asian, Indian, in India stuff, all types of cultures and histories and stuff like that. And it was just me, so I was just moving around and taking my time, and I really took my time and just walked around. And bitch, that thing like 4 5 floors. I was like,
Hmm.
holy shit, and it's long. But I took my time and I just walked through, sat down when I needed a break. I was like, you know what, time to rest. Sit down when I needed a break. And uh 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 looked around and was got back up and was like, you know what, I'm gonna continue to walk. So I walked around and looked and odd. And one thing I do like about it is so cool is the children in there. uh this is how I figured out a lot of the buses were for the kids, because you be walking, all of a sudden you hear somebody talking to like 20 children, and they're like, round up and sit down, and I want you to stare at this and write notes. So all of a sudden you see like book bags and backpacks and pencils all scattered across the floor. I was like, oh, this must be where they take their field trips. And it could be some of them was on the first floor, some of them was on the third floor. Like they was a little bit of everywhere. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
they probably take them here for history classes and
I
shit
think
like
they
that.
should do that for adults too, and maybe they do, but I think they should do like a guided tour for the adults, because I think if I seen like a group of kids getting an explanation of the exhibit and I was just kind of on my own, I would want to join in with the kids and be like, somebody explain to me what I'm looking at, but then it wouldn't be appropriate, some grown ass man just standing around a bunch of kids like, oh, so that's what the dinosaurs was from. So uh
Right.
I'm sure they have something where you can like get a guided tour, or maybe like an app where you can listen to it or something. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think if I went by myself, I would probably do that. But I'm also not a huge museum guy. Like, I know people recommend them and stuff, but I don't know, man. Like, I don't have the same amount of patience and appreciation of like, I want to stay in here for hours looking at stuff and taking pictures of stuff and stuff. I'm more of a like, all right, got it, and then just move to the next thing. Like, I just catalog it. I'm like, cool, maybe I'll take a picture, maybe I don't, but I'm like, okay, I'll see what they're trying to do. And then or even if it's over my head and I'm like, I don't see what this is about, and I just keep moving. But maybe that's what maybe I'll give that a try. But it's one of the reasons I haven't really done stuff like that even when I've been up here by myself, because I'm just not that I'm more of a go to a movie type of person than a like go see an exhibit, unless I'm really interested in a certain exhibit. That then I think it would be different, like when they had the Schomburg thing with the like black comic book stuff. Like, I would watch, I would go through that, but like just show up at the Schomburg and walk around, that's not my thing.
It's and see, for me, I just like the experience of being able to see a lot of these things like for the first time, and like taking pictures and taking videos and
Yeah,
all
I
that stuff.
think you are the person that's more normal. I'm not. I'm the one that's. I'm saying. I'm not saying. I think most people have your perspective, which is
Ah,
why these places are in business and why they have so much customers. I'm the one that's like, yeah, I'm good. Like, it's like, oh, they got this, and this. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Unless they got some shit that I want to see, like something specific, I'm mostly good on it. But but in the interest of time, let's keep it moving. What else happened? I know you got some soup from a famous soup place up the street.
I did. Oh, and before we move on from
Mhm.
the nature museum, I got to see some dinosaurs, and I'm I if I'm not mistaken, Discovery Place may have had them years ago when I was like a little kid, so I vaguely remember them, but but I don't think they was like this. Like y'all got dinosaurs. Y'all got dinosaurs that was like probably 10 feet tall. Them bitches was high and they was tall and they were fucking gorgeous. And so I had a great time seeing like the
10
dinosaur
feet tall.
fossils and
10
stuff.
feet tall don't sound that big for a dinosaur
Oh,
to
it
me.
probably was higher than 10 feet tall. I'm just saying 10 feet tall because it's taller than me, but some of them was big and long and stuff like that. So it was a really a fun experience. And also people from all over the world was out here in all types of languages. So it was a fun experience. If you ever get a chance, please do go because I had a ball there. And yeah, the soup place was excellent. I had some lobster, I'm gonna say some lobster bisque
Mhm.
soup that was really, really good. I feel like I had a packed lunch because I had the soup. Then I had like some bread, and I think they put an apple in there. They put a York peppermint patty in
Did
there.
you have any trouble finding the place?
No, I didn't have trouble finding a place. Coming back was another story, but I didn't.
It's from the original soup kitchen is where it's from. You got lobster bisque and a lobster roll.
And it was really, really, it was delicious. Now going up there wasn't a problem. And shout out to Apple Maps,
Mhm.
because with the maps, I can do the same thing like I did for Uber. I can walk and share to you me walking. So you
Yeah.
could be like, oh, they walked there in time, and oh, they walked back in time. So I really like that.
I
And
thought so this wasn't the time that you missed your turn because some
it,
dude or something?
it's the
Okay.
same situation. But
I'm just asking. I was trying. Okay, behind the scenes. God damn it, we doing a podcast.
oh,
Okay, I know the
sorry.
story. I know the story. Everybody. Okay, so as a professional, I'm setting Karen up to tell y'all the story like I never heard it before, and we can all enjoy it together. And
Okay.
and so I was gonna. I was teeing her up to tell y'all because she couldn't wait to tell me about the man and how she missed her
Oh yeah,
turn.
yes.
But
It
apparently,
was.
no, no, no. Apparently, I'm crazy.
No, you're not
And
crazy. You're
I
not
shouldn't
crazy. You're
I
not
shouldn't have
crazy.
been bringing up. She got back. She got what's the matter? Let's move on. It's
No,
no
no,
big deal.
we are not moving on. We are
Now
not moving
now
on.
now I'm the crazy one that's making us
You,
stop the show.
you're not crazy. Going up there didn't have no problem. And the place was absolutely delicious because I did the DoorDash thing. So, I was like, oh yeah, it's a few minutes up the street. So, I was like, I'm gonna be a big girl, hit these New York streets, and I was like, I can do it by myself. And being all big and grown and shit. So I was like, do 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 do, and walked my ass up there, and it was like two people in front of me. I turned around, it was eight people behind me. I was like, well, goddamn, this shit must be good. And when I got there, it was fast and quick, and so I was like, well, let me go back, the same way I came. So I turned my little thing on my phone. It was like, hey, track me. But what I did not realize is that I guess people use this shit. They must not have the volume on. I must have turned the volume off, the sound off. They give you like take a left turn here, a right turn here.
Well, when you're walking with Apple Maps, it doesn't really give you directions in by the sound. It just tells you through your watch or through the phone. It'll be like coming up in 300 feet. You got to make this right or something.
Okay, okay,
It's
but
not like when you're driving and is so it's a little different.
okay, that's terrible. Because for somebody like me, I want you to be like 300 feet coming up, bitch. Take a right. I understand you want to shake and shimmer and shit. That's great. But with
Mhm.
somebody like me who had my headphones in purposefully so I can hear you tell me to turn left and turn right because I'm not
Mhm.
familiar with the layout of the city. It's very helpful for you to tell somebody like me that.
Right.
So apparently I was do 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 just a walking, and I think at the corner I was supposed to turn at, it was this man, and I seen him in my eye coming up, and I was just walking, and next thing I know, I heard was like, "Hey, hey, lady." And the bitch just kept on. I walked right on past him. I ain't mean no eye contact with him. I kept my mask on, and I pushed my ass on down the street. When I got like probably a half a block away, I turned around to be sure he wouldn't follow me because he was on a bike, and I
Mhm.
didn't want nothing he was selling. I didn't want it. Whatever he was doing, I was like, I'm good, my nigga. I was like,
Yeah. I was
I'm
walking home one day and this African dude came up to me and he was like, "Hey, my brother, you wear cologne?" And I was like, "From you though?" Like, even if I'm in the cologne, I'm not in the cologne sold to me on the street. Like, that's a whole different genre, my man. I'm good. So I kept it
right.
moving. I just
Spray some
said,
shit on me and I pass out. I'm
but I'm
good.
I'm good at I'm good at just telling somebody no, thanks. It don't bother me at all to be like, yep, that's their fault. That's their feelings because I don't want to be some story. So I'm
Right.
you
And
really gotta catch me on a good day to get me to try to help you.
yeah, I put on like I said, I had my mask on, so I didn't get my face away, and I didn't make any eye contact. I kept straight, and I was thinking in my head, nigga, you see these headphones in? This ain't for decorations. Like,
Yeah.
I got them in my ears, but I could still hear around me because I didn't turn them completely down. But I act like them shits was turned on high, and I kept my ass walking down the street. And what happened? I fucking missed my turn. And so
Mm.
then, because I did not know, they didn't tell you you was getting 1,000 feet away from your fucking destination. I was just walking, 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 walking. I actually looked up and seen water. I was like, "Bitch, what you doing in the water?" I don't know. Water is not around me. I was supposed to see goddamn buildings, and I was like, "Oh, I think I went too far." So then I had to pull up my phone and was like, fuck, I'm out here near the water. So then I had to figure out how to get back home. So my
Mhm.
few-minute walk ended up being a full-fledged 25 minutes. I had great exercise. All the rings and my thing got filled up because I had walked 8 blocks further down the street because the bitch didn't know she needed to turn.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a terrible thing, because what happened if I'm somebody who might actually need the assistance of the sound? Like, just don't act like everybody, can just roam around without you telling them. So what I did, I figured out how to turn it on. So I turned that shit on. I was like, bitch, tell me. So I know if I'm getting closer, further. If I know I need to turn my black ass around, let me know,
Yeah.
until I get familiar with the layouts of the streets.
Yeah. And then when I came home, you were asleep and there was half eaten lobster bisques and half eaten lobster roll, which
Shit,
honestly
I had a workout.
yeah, that I was wondering why you were sleeping. That's probably why you had a good workout. But it was also weird too because the lobster roll, for some reason, I put it in the fridge, but it had been sitting on the table for a couple hours, I'm sure, when I got home. But it's interesting. I put it in the fridge and that thing smelled so bad a couple days later that I was just like, oh, I'm glad I didn't even try to eat none. I don't
Probably
know.
because it was laying out. I just was
I don't
just
know.
pooped, and if I put it in the refrigerator, it'd probably been good, but I was pooped, so I
Yeah.
was like,
I mean, nobody got sick, so I'm assuming it was fine. But yeah, it's
mhm.
and then we went to Scintillate. Karen got some jewelry. She wanted some earrings.
Yes, I like those earrings. Those earrings was nice. I it
Hmm.
really like those earrings. So I got me some earrings from there, and that's a good little walk. I like walking out, up there with you because that's a really small, laid back place. I'm pretty sure they have times where they are crowded, but they wouldn't crowd it at that particular time.
Yeah, they know me at Scintillate, so he's always happy to see me because I'm spending way too much money on incense. I'm basically came to New York to just work and then spend money on incense, and so that's what I've been doing. And so I hit them up at least like once every 2 weeks, sometimes once a week, depending on how much I need. And and I'm sure he was happy. He always throws some free incense in the bag because I don't, which means I just overspend, but it's fine.
Yes,
I burn
you
incense.
spend so much, you don't pay for these. Here you go.
Yeah, I burn incense at a pretty good clip. And I'm trying to think what else. I know I wrote down some of the stuff we did,
Oh,
but oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
because I know that that was Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, that was Thursday that I went out and got a good exercise in and shit. And then Friday was the show. It was the actual day of
Game
the
theory.
game theory, and so I had a good time. Roger got up before me, so I got up and um I did better this time. I think the first time I got nervous and was same thing, 2 blocks too far, or I turned too soon. Like it was weird. But this time I was ready to go, and I turned on the fucking sound on the app so the app could tell me how to get there. And what I did this time to make it easier, I stretched out the map and actually looked at it. I was like, okay, how many blocks this way do I? So I kind of had an idea of where I was going to. That made it a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I need to go this way, I need to go this way, and stuff like that. And so it made it a little easier to navigate around. And so I was like, oh, this is literally a straight shot. So this time I ain't had no problems. I walked up there,
And they
and
had you on the list this time, and everything was fine with the check in.
everything was good. It was really really good. And so I was, I got there and I was walking and I seen a little line. I was like, doo 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 doo. I was just walking up and I looked over to my left. I looked to my left and I seen somebody with some glasses on and some dress. I was like, that look like June. And it was. So I was like, hey, Miss June. And she was like, hey, baby. So she got the line. I spoke to her and stuff. I was like, hey. Who knew you would just be randomly walking and and look up and see something? I was like, I know that person. So I got to see June.
Yeah, and
And
I didn't get to see her, which reminded me, just as a show note, if y'all are listening, if you want to come to a taping of game theory, I always share the link online and stuff, but just follow me on social media and get it. We record Fridays around lunchtime, so I know it's a difficult time for people as opposed to like when we record it on Sundays. But if you don't have anything else to do, if you're in the city, if you just want to come out and support me, Bomani, and all the people making the show, please do. And if you want a selfie, if you want to say hi or whatever, just let me know. And I'll because basically once the show is done recording, we're good. Like, we just go across the street to get our stuff and then we can head home. So, maybe we hang out 15-20 minutes and then we head home, but for the most part we're good to go. And I think the rule is like basically you have to have like a COVID test to come over to the office with us. But I'm not sure how many people follow that rule or not, but yeah, just let me know. I'll take a selfie with you. I'll come say hi. I want to say hi to the people that support us, because I did it last year too. So if hit me up on social media or whatever and let me know. Because I definitely wanted to see June, but I know our fans are so nice and polite that that they
they don't
were, yeah,
bother
like I
you.
saw
Yeah,
one dude and I think he may have recognized, because I don't assume anyone recognized me. So I think he like pointed at me or something as we were walking past each other in the hallway, and I hit him with the head nod, and I was like, I don't know if I knew that dude or not, because of course he had a mask on and stuff. But so yeah, it's absolutely, I want people to know in no uncertain terms, I love that y'all come out and support. And if you want a selfie or just to say hi, let me know. Stick around afterwards, and I'll slide through. Because I think they let the audience out a little bit before we get out.
they
So
do.
I'll definitely come say hi. I love that. But how'd you like the show? I mean, we are in Drew Barrymore's studio now, so it's all cushy, and it's different than the last time we filmed in the studio. And the setup is sleek and nice, and it's like it's an upgrade. I love it.
It was a major upgrade
Mhm.
um, from last season. 'Cause I went to the last episode of last season. I'm gonna get that to him. I think he probably hitting us up about that again.
Okay, do you need to do it now or something? You
Yeah,
need a
just
break?
Yeah, hold on one second,
Okay,
y'all.
cool. No problem. I'll talk to the people. So we were recording so basically we recorded a couple of last week on Keith and the Girl episodes over the last couple of weeks in New York. That's the only podcasting we really did. And so Karen has to send Keith the description for the show in the show notes. And I guess she either forgot or she thought she sent it and she didn't. And so Keith is asking for the description. And so that's what she's going off to do. But I'll just talk about like the show and recording it. So man, this season already off with a bang. I think people are seeing the difference in Bomani. Like he is so comfortable, he's so loose, and we're trying some different things, above my pay grade stuff. Like they had him answering questions from the audience. They had him he's doing like some riffing between like recording takes and stuff, when they're doing pickups, which is where you go back and anything you flubbed or messed up, you go back and do it again, and the audience, has to laugh again. And Sydney Castillo is doing like the audience warm up, and he's killing it, even though I think as a comedian, he kind of frowns on the audience warm up stuff because that's kind of like a hype man more than a comic. But he works in so much funny comedy and energy. He just hits that switch, and he's so good at it. He had us dying, even as like people that work with him every day and writers. It's like his riffing and stuff was just off the cuff, was so funny. And then so he does that. And then the way we're writing for Bo this year is something that I envisioned last year, but I'm the lowest man on the run. I'm a new writer, all this stuff, so I don't have any say. But I think as a fan of Bo, I've always had like a vision for the show and like what I thought it would be in my head. And I think a lot of it's been about trying to get it to that area. And so one of the things for Bomani, if you're a fan of his, is that his ability to speak extemporaneously is just like unrivaled. Um, he can be funny, he can be opinionated, he can be acerbic, like he can be a lot of things, witty, all this stuff off the top of the dome. If you listen to his podcast, he doesn't write those things down. There's not like an outline, there's no sheet of facts sitting in front of him. It's just like, these are the things I on my mind and we're going to talk about it. And sometimes with a guest, sometimes by myself. And so to me, I was like, man, I want us to be able to harness that for a TV show. Now, TV show is a bit of a different undertaking and ordeal. You got a writing crew, you got a producer, you got uh all the stuff you got to worry about with the camera, the crew, you got stage managers, you got to fucking hit your marks, at certain things. You got a clock ticking for every single segment and thing you're doing. So it's more difficult to be extemporaneous and to be off the cuff when clearly someone's sitting around like, you got 5 minutes to say everything you need to say in this segment, right? And of course you want it to flow, right? So um this year we're writing stuff, but he's riffing on it and incorporating the things that have either been written or just the things that he already said. And it's flowing so well, like and it's something new that he's doing. And it's funny because the relationship at work, he's I would consider Bo a friend, but also I'm working for him and I'm working for his show. And so there's a hierarchy within the job, right? It's just natural. You're doing a job for somebody. And he'll like stop in and let me know if he's digging something I did, or or sometimes just stop in and shoot the shit. But I'm always appreciative of anyone giving me feedback to let me know if I'm doing a good job, if I can do a better job, if I'm whatever. And so he's doing this new thing, and I think he gives off this aura of confidence, right? And and that's the one thing, he's always just naturally seems confidence. I wouldn't say it was arrogance, but I believe it's confidence. And I'm not really intimidated by people's confidence or anything like that. But what I forget is that just because somebody seems confident and just because they're good at something doesn't mean they don't want feedback or praise or whatever, right? And so he's doing this new thing, and he like busts through like three different topics, riffing off top of his head, incorporating all our points, getting it within the time limit. And this is just at the top. This is just a rundown. This is just him like doing practicing what we're gonna do live. And he gets done, and everybody's just like, "Yeah, all right. So, what about this? What about that?" And he's like, "Wait, y'all. So that it? Y'all ain't y'all didn't like that?" Everybody's like, "No, it was fucking great." And so, so it's one of those things where I think you almost forget to tell him he's doing a good job. So like the night before our show on Friday, like I texted him to be like, "Yo, in case you need to hear it. Now, you might not need to hear it, you might not even care about this shit, and it's and totally fine. But I was like, in case you need to hear it, yo, you're killing it. You've been killing it in the rehearsals. I know you're gonna kill it tomorrow. What we're doing is something that nobody else is doing. Ain't nobody got no shit like this on TV. And if they got something like it, they not doing it this way. They got no, they all up in the teleprompters reading every word. Um, and I was like, I'm happy to be a part of this. I'm glad to be a part of this, and I know that you're gonna, we're gonna create something special, and I can't wait to get to work on this tomorrow and really like show these motherfuckers what we got. And yeah, god damn it if we didn't do it, man. I really was excited about that. The other writers that we have, everybody's getting stuff in, like the veteran writers that have been here for a couple seasons, the new writers, Brendan, Jay, Heaven, and Elena, they're all getting shit in, like, and which is so important to me because I feel like the isolating feeling of like not getting shit in, what regardless, I know people say it's like a merit thing and we're just gonna use the best joke. I hear you, but if I start to feel like I never had a best joke, then I'm gonna start to feel a fucking way, So I love when we look at the scripts and we see the collection of jokes. Like obviously I'm proud of my shit as well, and when my shit gets in, I'm like yes. And if we get a big laugh or Bo delivers it a certain way or whatever, it's like there's no better feeling. But yeah, absolutely to see like um your stuff get in and to see everybody's stuff get in and everyone's like rooting for each other, um that's dope, and so so far so good with episode one. um and yeah, it really couldn't have gone better. And I guess y'all don't know this if you weren't at the taping, but this year we're going to not only be on HBO Max and not only be on HBO, but before TNT's Thursday with Ernie, Charles, and Shaq, we're gonna be on TNT. A truncated version of the show is gonna be aired where they like kind of cut some things around, and we'll have like commercial breaks instead. So yeah, man, we're gonna it's crazy. We're gonna be featured on TNT, and I can't wait for that. And hopefully I can write something to get a toss in to the TNT people at the end, maybe get a joke in about Shaq and Ernie and all them people. So I'm looking forward to that. That's like a big milestone as just a sports lover and NBA fan and a person that watches TNT every week anyway. So it's like, oh shit, man, we made something that's gonna uh be on there. So I'm looking forward to the TNT version of the show. And I'm sure they'll cut around it and stuff like that too. But yeah, so that's really that's really really exciting. So the taping went well, and then Karen came and hung out after the taping, and And then we went, me and some of the writers, a couple people from, I think the news team, we went to the Gin, which is this Korean fried chicken spot. That
Child, when I tell you that place was absolutely delicious because Roger had told me about it. So for those of you that like boneless chicken, but most people fuck boneless chicken up, which is why I don't order that bitch. They be
mhm.
like, boneless chicken, here's some chicken nuggets. Bitch, I don't want no chicken nuggets. They fry the hell out of them. They hard. They're not juicy. It's like, I didn't want this dry
Yeah,
ass shit.
if all boneless chicken tasted like the boneless chicken at the Gin, I love boneless chicken.
Yes, I would too. And I stopped ordering it because I was like, oh yeah, boneless chicken, that sounds absolutely delicious. An easier way to eat chicken. They was like, no, we're gonna super fried, extra hard, where all the tenderness is out of it. Here you go. And then everything is like burnt to a crisp and you can like beat a brick wall with it. You was like, don't nobody want to eat this. And
Yeah.
so we went in there and they do like chicken chunks almost, and
Yeah.
they take them and they like pat them and they fry them, and when you bite them to them, they juicy, they tender, they soft. You can feel the moisture.
Yes, it's what boneless chicken is supposed to taste like. The
Correct.
breast meat that's just soft and juicy, and man, they got the sauce they put on it, and you can dip it in it. It was amazing. I love the gin. Then so and then they have like soju, which is like this drink that's alcoholic drink that you drink. And so yeah, we had a good time hanging out with them, and at the same time, Jess Wood was coming up to visit us,
Mm-hmm.
because we had saw NicJu, and that was on, like, I want to say Sunday or something.
That was
And
okay. That was
so
Sunday.
yeah, and so she came by the spot, and we hung out with her, and of course just
That
kicked it
was
like old
fun. I
friends.
miss Nick Jew. I had seen
Yeah,
Nick Jew. We had seen her in a while, so it
it
was
was
just
so good to see her.
good, just to kick it, with her like that.
And we never got to meet Jess Wood in person. So Jess Wood came over, and we just talked and hung out for like an hour or so, and just had a good time. And so we I love Jess Wood, love talking with her.
Mm-hmm.
Been, we've known her since she was on, like, After Black with Twib,
Way back
like,
in the day.
so.
Like we've known her a really, really long time. And it was really good because I think when we was out in California, she was able to make it out there to us. And so because I remember her
Wait,
saying
Jess Wood made it out in California?
no, she did not make it. Like
Okay,
when we was in
okay, thank you.
California, she tried to make it to us in California, but she wasn't able to make it.
Right.
So we missed her then. And so it was good. And it's one of those things where when you meet somebody that you kind of known like that for such a long period of time, and it was just like it's almost like you are like the real thing. Because I was telling, I was like, it's weird not looking at you through a screen. Like I could actually touch
Mhm.
you. So it was actually really fun to like kick it with her. She was full of energy and
Mhm.
everything. It was just beautiful to meet her. But before I continue on with that, I wanted to go back. So after I had met Miss June, um, I had walked past the line because I was trying to figure out, where to kind of go in it and and let them know and stuff like that. And so I walked down. I think I walked too far. I think I walked to your entrance, and one of your coworkers down there that recognized me from last time. So me and her was talking. She's like, "Ryan just went across the street." I was like, "Oh, okay." So, but I went.
Yeah,
I went.
because I was under the impression that we were not supposed to have people up unless, like, they had gotten COVID tested or just some shit, and everybody was just like, "Fuck it." I was like, "Okay, so I guess fuck it." But I mean, I know we had been taking COVID tests, so I know we were clean. But it
Right.
it was still like I didn't know if that was gonna be some type of problem, basically,
Right.
so apparently it wasn't. And we didn't hang out that long, but we just kicked it and then left. And of course I feel pretty safe in the office just because everyone's constantly being COVID tested, which doesn't mean that people won't get COVID. I that we we're gonna have people get it throughout this season, but hopefully it doesn't spread, and hopefully with the mask and the protocols it won't be that bad. But yeah, absolutely. That was the only reason I went across the streets, because I was going to get my stuff and just come right back out and just say, hey, let's go to the gin or whatever.
No problem. And but before that was after the show, but before the show, I walked down too far, and one of your coworkers was going in, and she seen me, and
Hmm.
she told me you was across the street. So I guess you hadn't came over yet
Right.
at that period of time. So I walked back up, and no, I didn't have no problem getting on the list. And I gave the lady my name. She was like, "Yep, you on the list." And I was like, "Okay, cool." But while I was standing there, somebody was looking at me. He said, "Hey, Karen." I looked. I said, "Hey, sweetie, how you doing?" I was in my mind. I was like, "You got to be a fan of the show." And shout out to Linda Brothers. This is Linda Brothers' old roommate,
Hmm.
Kayan. Kayan. Please don't be mad at
Don't
me if
even
I
try. Just don't even try,
mispronouncing your name.
Karen. Just don't
I'm
even
not even
try.
going to try.
What would be the point? What would be the point?
What,
Just so you can mess the name up. They
what's the
know who
point?
they are.
What's the point? So I can butcher it. So
Yeah.
so I can give Linda the bad name. Linda was like, you went to go see him, and Karen butchered your name on the show. My
Yeah.
bad.
We
And
already
so
know.
he's a roommate of was an old college roommate of Leonard Brothers, and because he was like, yeah, I know Leonard Brothers. I was like, oh, you know Leonard Brothers? I was like, and it was sweet because I was like, I'm all the way up here in New York City and hearing about Leonard Brothers down south. So it was really cool. So shout out to you, Leonard Brothers, because he said that Leonard got him in the bowl and then got him into us, and he said he's been a fan ever since. So it was just me walking around meeting people and stuff. And also I got to meet Zach's mom, the head writer
Hmm.
mom, and she was so sweet
And
and
she's
so
also a Karen.
yes, she's also a Karen. Her name is Karen, and I did not know that
Yeah.
until the person that was doing like the warm-ups and stuff was talking about Karen. I kept saying, what? I was like, he can't be talking to me. He said Zach's mom. And the thing is, me and her ended up being on the same row. And so we started talking and stuff, and she was like, yeah, who are you here with? I was like, yeah, my husband, Rod, he writes on the show. And she was like, yes, my son, the head writer, Zach. I was like, I love Zach. Because I didn't get to see Zach last time because Zach was at home when I
Hmm.
came before. So I got to meet his mom, and she was really kind and really sweet. And it was wonderful to see her and spend time with her. And so at the end of the show, we went across the street, and that was really nice to go across the street. And don't try no Fernet, whatever that shit is that he tried to get us to drink. That shit's terrible.
Yeah. Well, I bought the Fernet. 'Cause last year, Tommy, my office mate, he had some Fernet, which is this terrible tasting alcohol. It tastes like Robitussin and herbs and spices. And but at this point, it's become like a tradition because I hated it, and we made jokes about it the rest of the season. And
I gave it to a
sometimes
plant.
you bust it open and it's just for funs and giggles. And so I thought it would be funny to buy some for the office, and we would drink it after the first show. And
Some of
so
them was
we
not ready.
so we did, and we gave all the people that hadn't tried any some, and we watched their faces, and I thought it was hilarious because Tommy earnestly seems to like this bullshit. And so
So
to me, it's
goddamn.
just funny that we're drinking this bullshit. And so I was just watching each person react to it like, what is this shit?
I
And
was warning them. I was like, don't drink
yeah,
it.
it's definitely an acquired taste that I haven't acquired, but
Mm-mm.
but I also enjoy the funniness of people drinking it. So I guess I'm part of the problem. But yeah, it was a good
I guess you are. I had a good time, and we was at the gin. I had a good time uh talking to who you said it was on the news team, the other people down at the other
yeah.
end, and
Hmm.
I had a ball talking with them. And just running my mouth and talking and having a good time. I had a really, really good time. And then, just like I said, Roger said, we met Jess Woods and had a good time with her. We just chilled I think that was Friday. Yeah, we just chilled for the rest of Friday.
Yeah, and it's just Jess Wood.
Jess Wood.
But yeah, we had a good time. And also um so a dispensary opened up the street from where I work, and so I walk by it when I go back to the crib. And I was like, I didn't know if it was a dispensary. It had like a real trendy name, like coffee shop, but it's spelled cough. And I was like, what is selling there? Like cough syrup or like what like lean, like what the fuck is coffee shop?
You're not spelling
And
this right.
like I tried googling it and it was like a different location than the one I was like, okay, so maybe it's a dispensary, but I don't know. I had to go to their website and you look on the Yelp and all this stuff, and then eventually I figured out like, oh, they sell weed up in there because people sell weed in New York.
Yeah, ain't like down here.
If you buy it from the dispensary and shit, it's typically more expensive and all this stuff. And some people say it's not that strong. I don't know. Some people say it's too strong. I don't know. But I've only smoked the one time in the park with Hamden and Keith and
Hmm.
Xerxes and shit. So I was like, you know what? I'm legal. I'm over 21. There's not
I'm an adult.
the same way I walk in and buy some liquor, I'm a fucking one of these days on my walk home, I'm gonna get some fucking weed. And so one of my coworkers is like, she noticed it too. She's like, yo, that dispensaries up there. And it was like fucking kismet because it was the day that I was almost went in and then I just didn't. And then she sent that through the Slack and I was like, yo, I wanna go. Can somebody go with me just to explain what I'm getting, because I don't want to be
Right.
in there, I'm obviously a noob and I don't want to be in there just
Correct.
fucking
Hustled.
not even getting hustled, but I just didn't want to be like wasting time or whatever. I just want to like go in, somebody tell me what to get, and boom. And so I go and obviously I don't know how to roll, I don't have a bong, I don't do any of that shit. So
Mm-mm.
um so she was like, not only will I take you, but I'll buy your first one for you. And that was very sweet of
Oh.
her. And so she did. And I bought her lunch, kind of like to show my appreciation and stuff. And so we smoked a little bit before we went to the gin. They just like took a couple hits of the one she bought, but then the other one I took home and was like, all right, this is what I'm gonna be doing for the next few days. And so yeah, it lasted like 4 or 5 days because it's not like I was like some type of, I'm not a professional to be smoking the whole thing by myself like
No.
that.
Mm-mm.
But we kind of hit it a few times, and
Mm-hmm.
it was nice. It felt good. I felt like I was finally getting used to it the last time I smoked, and I didn't buy the kind that got like resin on it and shit because I wasn't sure how strong that was or whatever. It was just like the lowest, like just the normal. You know what I'm saying? But it was funny because everybody, when they heard that I did never smoke, they were all like, what? Which is always interesting because my whole life people have treated me like, oh, you must smoke weed. Like everybody, like they're just like, well, you're
You're
funny.
so hippy dippy.
Yeah, like you like clearly, so every time they're always like, nah, that's what? And I'm like, nah, this is just how I am. And I'm always, saying weird, goofy shit that, people normally say when they're high is just how my normal brain is. And so yeah, anyway, I it was great. And so I think while I'm up here, I'll probably just stop by there every once in a while. And I went back like not today, maybe yesterday or something, and I bought like two more, but like one with resin and one like that's a hybrid and stuff, because now I want to see like what else works, because I think the first one was a hybrid, and then this new, then they said some that are good for anxiety and calm and stuff, so to try that. They got some that like kind of hype you up, but I didn't want any of those. So we'll see, man. I'm gonna try to see what's going on. So
Yeah,
uh
we will
we'll
see.
let you know.
It, cool. We will see. It's different. And I know me, I am not really a quote unquote smoker. So it's very different. And it's one of those things because my nose is kind of sensitive, like to those odors and to those smells. So I was just smelling it days afterwards and shit like that. I was like,
Well, I think also if you wear the same mask, it's easy to still smell it. But I changed
okay.
mask. But yeah, especially like right afterwards. But I enjoy the smell, so I was like, it's gonna just sit in my mask while I go walk into the
That was
location.
must be what I smelled because, like I said, there wasn't nothing wrong with the mask I put, and that's what I was smelling. That makes more sense. It
Yeah.
wasn't until I put back on the mask I kept saying, I didn't smoke. Why am I smelling? So that makes sense. So I didn't
Yeah,
realize.
I will say the store we is supposedly expensive, but because I don't have anything to measure it against, it might as well be. This is just the price to me until something else happens to where somebody's like, "No, you should only be paying this." I'm like, "All right, cool," you know. So
But like this, like Arizona iced tea, the price is on the can. We ain't negotiating. Is I know this shit ain't laced with anything, so I'm good.
mhm.
Like that's my
So
biggest thing.
yeah, yeah. Basically, they got edibles and stuff too. But yeah, so that was, that's a new experience. And it I guess as tradition is, we smoked some and then ordered a bunch of dim sum like last last
That
time.
it was
And
absolutely
man, it really sets it off, man. The food definitely hit different, for sure. I was just like enjoying a cookie like I'd never had a fucking cookie in my life. So at least the one
it's
this
like your taste
time.
buds. I don't know, but
Yeah.
everything was absolutely delicious. Oh, and was it this same day or was it another day we ordered? I think that might have been another day when we ordered that pizza that tastes like cardboard.
So I was gonna get into that. It's a different day, but I'll just run through a couple quick things here. So when we went to Scintillate, I went on a whim, got a bug up my ass and said, "Oh, you know what? We're in New York. Okay, we're walking down the street. There's food and pizza and places all over the street. There's a pizza place that had its door wide open, and we're walking by, and it was called Best Fresh Pizza. And I'm gonna tell you about it after the break. Okay." Come through, professional money. We stopped by Best Fresh Pizza, and let me tell y'all something, guys. They got me. Okay, that's what happens in New York. You have a whim, you want to do something different, you want to experience something different, and you pay the cost every fucking time, guys. The city never sleeps, and the city never rests, and it never takes a break. Okay, so I go in Best Fresh Pizza on a whim. I was like, oh, I'm a surprise Karen to just step in there. And
Yes, because he stepped in and I didn't know, so I kept going straight, going, wait a minute, I'm by myself. What's happening here?
yeah, maybe I had the munchies, I don't know. But we step in, and the pizza has been sitting there probably for however long they've been open. There's not really a line. The crust is not the New York pizza crust that you love and know. Y'all know the kind that you can fold it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that.
Mm-mm.
It's like pizza
Cardboard.
from a amusement park. Okay,
Yes.
the toppings are just barely enough. All right, not that much sauce in it and shit. And so I'm like, fuck it. I already stepped in. We're pot committed. Let me get a slice of pepperoni, and can you add extra cheese? He said, yes, I add extra cheese. He goes around the corner to add some extra cheese. I never see him put it on, but I guess that's where the cheese is. Puts it in the oven, takes forever. Then
Mm-hmm.
Karen standing right beside me takes like 5-10 minutes before going, oh, what you want? I'm like, okay, that's interesting that you couldn't have just took all the orders at the same time. She orders some barbecue chicken pizza because Karen is one of them people that likes barbecue chicken on pizza, and pepperoni, extra cheese, whatever. We get a couple drinks. Boom. We go to check out or whatever. He's like, you need a bag? I said, yep. And he's like, all right, cash only. that should be a sign somewhere. Maybe you say that before I order my food.
And there was like
It
one pizza
seemed
skip 3, 2 pieces skip 4.
seemed like
They not
in
counting all them pizzas.
it just seemed like in 2023, if you only take cash, that would be a thing we should establish up front, because I might not have any cash on me, which I
Yes.
didn't. And so I said, I don't have no cash. And he was like, cash only. It's an ATM in the corner. So now I got to
Mm-hmm.
go to the ATM and
And
fucking
fucking pick up a fee.
take this $3 fee or some shit. And of course, I said, how much is it? He said 1950, which, nigga, please. I know that shit was probably like, so it'd be cheaper than that, but it was like, how can I get your whole $20 bill? And
Right.
so and the options on the ATM guys were like $20, $200, $500. Like, it wasn't no
Oh,
like you can get $40. You can get,
2, 4, 6, 8. No one that goes 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 somewhere around in there.
it's a motherfucking scam, man. It's a
Yes, it is
motherfucking scam.
because
And
he know
so
people not paying attention, and once they prepared it, they go, "Well, I know you're gonna pay for it."
So then I see the pizza come out the oven, and y'all, when I tell you the cheese hadn't even really fucking melted, I don't know what kind of cheese that was. Cheese in quotes, like it melted like that vegan cheese they talk about. It didn't. It like, you know how you see shredded cheese and shredded cheese melts, mozzarella melts into like a smooth something. It still looked like the shredded cheese. It was in the same motherfucking shape, and so we got home and we soldiered through like a couple bites. Like I said, it was still high, and even I couldn't even
I looked
finish
at
it.
Roger. I was like, "Baby, this shit is
No,
fucking
I looked at
terrible."
Karen, because Karen never likes to admit things are terrible up
Oh,
front.
that's true. I
I
don't.
looked at Karen because Karen, if I would have said it was good, Karen would have lied and said it was great. But I looked at Karen and I said, this pizza is not good. And
Mm-mm.
she's like, oh, okay, because I didn't think it was good either. I was like, yeah, this is trash.
Yes,
You
it
know
was.
what I mean?
Even the barbecue pizza was nasty. I love barbecue pizza. That shit
Yeah.
was terrible.
That shit was the worst motherfucking pizza I ever had in my life, dog. They say best fresh pizza. I say worst stale pizza. Okay. And pizza in quotes, because it really don't, it shouldn't count as pizza. It was more like a food stuff. I've had microwave pizza better. I've had DiGiorno is better.
Come
Um,
on.
the Mr. P's pizza, or as we called them in college, Master P's pizza, the 99-cent pizza that you can microwave. I had those that were better. It was,
Yeah, this
honest to
place is
God, the
terrible.
worst fucking pizza I've ever had. So the best pizza I've ever had from New York, and now the worst pizza I've ever had from New York.
That
uh
shit
what a
was
day. And
nasty.
someone said, brought up that it could be a scam. The scam was that they got me for the motherfucking ATM, dog. There's no. I check my balance every day. So if it's gonna scam, that it ain't came through yet. But the scam, they don't need to scam me. They scammed me with that motherfucking pizza, man.
And,
That
and
goddamn piece of bread
every
with the
time we
pizza
pass
on it.
that place, I want to be the one person protesting, going, "Don't eat this shit." I want to stand
Yeah.
outside and tell people, "No."
But I feel like I'm the sucker. Like, I feel like other people be looking at me like, oh, you actually went there for pizza? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is a scam by big ATM
Come
to
on.
get people to pay $3 in ATM fees. And they say, how do
Yes.
we do it? Okay, we'll set up a fake pizza shop. And then when people want to get the pizza, we'll make them feel bad and tell them it's cash only, but only after they ordered. And then they have to go to the ATM. And now we got them for $3.
Right.
What a fucking scam. That was terrible.
Right. I was like, never again. I was like, this is some bullshit.
But yeah, okay. So other stuff that happened, I'll try to go through. We went to the MoMA,
We did. This was Saturday, right?
the Museum of Modern Art. Yeah, this was Saturday that we went to the MoMA. We also went to the Nike store, and the Nintendo store the next day. But yeah, Saturday we went to the MoMA.
We went,
My
we went
coworker
to the
Tommy.
Nintendo store. We did all that the same day, I think. Yeah, we did. We did it all in the same day.
No, I'm pretty sure we did MoMA Saturday, came home,
Oh,
and
we did
we
a
did
Nintendo
Nintendo Sunday
store
morning.
and Nike store Sunday. Right. It's two
Yeah,
separate days. Right. So
yeah.
Saturday we went to the MoMA.
So anyway, the MOMA was really cool. My coworker got us tickets. His I guess his partner, his lady friend, I don't he's a very woke man. I don't know what the term is, but he she has like a hookup where she can get people tickets to this, and so you get tickets and then it tells you like a time to be there, although I guess it's kind of general.
Mm-hmm.
But we went at 2 o'clock, and on a Saturday, which it was still going to get jumping because it's a Saturday as opposed to a weekday, and it did get jumping. But 2 o'clock, it wasn't that jumping, and so we get there. Karen freaked out because she forgot to bring her mask, and Karen
I went in
told the
panic mode.
PTSD
I
as
was like,
well.
no, I'm not going in here without no mask. I was like, I walked around the nature museum for 5 hours. I had on the mask. I was like, no, bitch, I'm not going in there with too many people.
But it's not. But the thing for me was I had my mask in my pocket, but we needed to take the Uber over, and it was like, honestly, we've been careful, we've been safe, and the risk is low taking like an Uber drive with no mask. But I also I could feel her panic, so I didn't want to like slide my mask on like, oh well, nigga, guess you gonna die. That felt that felt wrong.
My anxiety did go through the roof because I was like, nigga, I go back upstairs and get it. He
So
was
I
like,
left my
no,
mask.
no,
Yeah,
no.
it was too late. The car was here. It was actually waiting on us up the block. So we took the ride over, and I just told her, I said, baby, it's gonna be fine. When we get to the museum, they'll have masks, because why the fuck wouldn't they? Like,
Yeah,
we are
like
not the first niggas to be like, we don't want to get COVID. So we got there, and they just pointed us right to the desk and said, you can go over there and get a mask. They gave us a mask. We put them on, and then we took a tour of the I think it's 4 floors. We took a tour of the first 2 floors. We saw a computer video game exhibit that was nice.
yeah, and what was funny about that is weird when you actually live the history. I was like, oh, I know
Yeah.
a lot of this shit. And I actually played a lot of these games. Like, oh, so
Mhm.
I'm ancient now because the shit that I grew up with is in the museum.
Yeah, like the first iPod with the wheel was in there.
I'm pretty sure we got it around here somewhere.
And I was like, damn, that's the iPod that I started listening to podcast on. That's
Mhm.
exactly what it looked like.
And I had that podcast. I mean that thing until I got like my first iPhone. Like and this shit was like a goddamn
Nah,
brick.
we definitely bought the newer generation iPods before we got phones. I remember those, like iPod Nano. We upgraded. I
Oh
think
yeah.
at one point I had a Zune. I had all that bullshit at some point. So
Okay, but I remember having that one. I don't
we didn't go
remember
straight
the
from the wheel to the phone. There was way too much time between those two things.
Zune. I had that thing. I had that thing forever. I had that thing so long. The IT dude looked at me like, "What the hell you doing with that?" I was like, "Yeah, I had this thing forever." And I remember him. I actually really, really enjoyed that thing. I remember the click, 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 going around in
so
circles and shit.
so yeah, we looked at all the video game stuff, and that was cool. Once again, museums just not my thing. It's just
Yeah,
not my
I want
thing.
to go back.
But I like I was taking pictures of stuff. I wasn't like rushing Karen or anything like that, like, oh, hurry up, like. But I take something in, I look at it from a couple angles, I'm like, I'm good here. And I don't think I'm alone. I think a lot of people don't want to admit that they feel like me,
Right.
but they want to fit in, and they think the right thing to do is to like sit down and really stare at the wall for a couple hours. And I'm
That's
just
not
like,
your
yeah,
jam.
I got it.
Just walk through and glance. I
Yeah.
like to take my time, but that's just me personally. But I know that's not
Yeah.
everybody's
No, I
thing.
know you like to take your time the way everybody else thinks you're supposed to take your time. It's just you supposed to take your time, and you're supposed to take 12 different angles and go, oh. And I'm just like, yeah, I got it. You took
Cause
you took tomato cans and you put them together into a transformer.
now,
I think
now,
that's
the,
really dope that you did that, and I'm moving to the next thing.
now the thing about the MoMA is, I will admit, some of it was above my pay grade. I was like, oh, what? This is art? Oh, I guess. Like some of it was confusing as shit.
Yeah, and I also don't waste time when I'm confused. Like there was an exhibit that was like just a dark room, and the computer screens had some shapes on it, and people was just, I mean, I guess if you was high or something, maybe tripping or something. But for me, I was like, yeah, okay, dark room with some shapes. I don't need no need to sit on this with you guys. Y'all have a good one. I'm gonna head back out and So that's how I looked at a lot of stuff. I took a lot of pictures, but I haven't posted them yet. And some art stuck out more than others. But I my favorite thing was the number one abstract thing that everyone took pictures of was this thing that had words on it that was like, something like do today because tomorrow isn't here or something, or what looks
Mhm.
good today might not tomorrow or something. And everybody stopped to take pictures of that shit. And I was like, yes, because we're not that complicated. You can read it and you know what it means. And
Right.
you just gotta
Yeah,
put that
some
picture
of
on your
that shit,
Instagram.
I had question marks above my head, like,
Yeah.
okay, I guess, I be like, if you say so, things look unique and different and things like that, and there's one of those things, but you kind of slowly make your way, around. I think the design in this one is different than the other museums. Excuse me. And so it was really a different experience. Like I said, I want to go back to see other things, to see what other kind of weird and unique, stuff that they have in there that I can take pictures of. So, like
Yeah,
I
I'm
said,
planning to go back and see floors 3 and 4, but that
yay.
anyway, none of this shit matters, guys. I'm gonna tell you the real story, okay? Because this was only in New York story,
Yes, only
and
in New York.
it was cool. So when we walked in, the first thing I noticed was it said floor 2, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, and like the stagecraft behind it, and I'm like, oh my god, I saw Pinocchio on Netflix. And I mean, I loved it so much. I asked Karen to watch it, and she just said she didn't have time because I was like, we can review it together. But she just was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to watch it. And I said, oh, okay, all right. So I reviewed it by myself, and if y'all have listened to the premium feed, y'all heard my review. I loved it. It was so good. It's not a kid's cartoon. It's so deep. It's about war and fascism and death and mortality and love and tragedy and loss. It is so good. It made me cry. It was so good. And Guillermo del Toro was in his motherfucking bag. Like, there's
Okay.
just there's certain times when people do something, you'd be like, only this nigga could have did this. This is one of those rare movies where I watched it and said, only this dude could have did this. Nobody else is gonna make a Pinocchio this good. I didn't even watch the Tom Hanks one because I said, ain't nobody gonna fuck with this. This is like when the two Jungle Books came out, and that one was so
Right.
good. I was like, oh, fuck that other Jungle Book.
Ain't that the
And
truth?
so Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio on Netflix, watch it. Just the way it must have been made so painstakingly to do that much stop motion is just crazy. So and it's so meta because you're watching puppetry as with no strings in a story about a puppet with no strings, right? It's just so deep and so
Mm.
good.
Okay, I sit down
Anyway,
and watch it.
I watched it and I loved it. And so apparently I'm not alone. We get to
Mm-mm.
the second floor, and I asked the dude after, we go around the second floor, we look at all the exhibits, and eventually I'm just like, all right, as I said, enough of this bullshit. Where the Pinocchio? And this brother was like, oh yeah, it's right down there by that. Just walk all the way over here. And I said, okay. So I'll start walking and walking and walking. And I get there. And I'm looking around. I said, that's interesting. The Pinocchio exhibit's way the fuck over there.
Yeah,
And
and
there's
this
a
this
line of
long
people.
ass line. He was like, "Yeah, it's up there towards the painting." So I started going to the painting. All of a sudden, you run. You're like, "Where all these 300 people come from?"
Well, Karen starts doing that. I don't. I say, oh, this is clearly the line for Pinocchio. We can go ahead and go home then. Because I saw my stomach, I was getting a bit of a rumbly tumbly. So I was like,
Yeah,
you can go ahead
but
and
like,
go
I
home.
wonder why. Probably was from that non-cheese
Yeah. The
pizza.
worst, the worst, the worst stale pizza in New York had my stomach messing up a little bit. So I said, you know what? We gave it a shot. We can always come back and do the other 2 floors. And I guess I'll never get to see Pinocchio, guys,
Yeah, because this
because
one is for a limited time. So
what
there's,
I'm definitely not doing is waiting 2 fucking hours in this line with
right.
the rest of these people, right? And I love the movie, but it's just like between my stomach and the weight, I wasn't gonna make it. So then we go to the elevator, and I'm talking to Karen. I was like, man, I'm sorry to that we have to leave, but
Hmm.
I'm not waiting 2 hours to see that. And I love that movie. It was so good. And it just fucking sucks because everybody had the same goddamn idea. And this brother, overheard us
I know well. Well,
and
he was
just
like,
was
"Did y'all
like,
get to see the
he just
Pinocchio?"
turned. He turned. He said, "Yeah." He said, "Did you get to see it?" And I said, "No, I really wanted to, but I don't have the time, unfortunately." He goes, "Do you want to?" And I said, "Of course I want to." Yeah.
Mhm.
He said, "Follow me." And I said, "I'm gonna follow this man." Okay. Like, now look, I didn't know this man from Adam, and
Mm-mm.
this brother could have been, like, to be honest, I thought maybe he gonna slide us in through the side door.
To the
He
back.
gonna he gonna be like, "Listen, my cousin Cal is a janitor. Knock on the door, then whistle like a bird 3 times, and then he gonna
Yeah.
open up the door and let you in through the side." And I would have did it for the record. Absolutely, I would have. I wanted to see Pinocchio that bad, but turns out that he is a contributor and a member to the MOMA,
Mhm.
and so he took us through the members entrance, which is right next to the pores, and
Come on, right next to the pools.
we literally walked by at least a couple hundred
100
people
people. There was two or three
and
hundred people
just
in there.
walked straight to the fucking front. And they were like, sir, you a member? And he was like, she said, are you all members? And he said, and I didn't say shit. I wasn't gonna fuck nothing up. I didn't
Me
know.
either.
And so I just sat there and waited on him to answer. He was like, yes. And she's like, how many? He was like, 3. And I said, okay, pause, move aside.
They
And
made them stop. They was like, "No, you can't go in right now."
yeah, and I actually have his card around here somewhere. Hold on, I'm gonna come right
Mhm.
back, Karen. But
No problem.
say something.
And we walked right on past them. I felt like I was at the Hornets games. They was, because when I tell y'all it was a line, they might as well had to, when you go to amusement park where they had a sign of like it is a 2 hour wait. They might as well had that had that hanging out, hanging up in the air,
And
telling people they had a 2 hour wait.
Karen stands she stands some VIP treatment. She loves to
Yes,
walk
I
by some
do.
she loves to walk by some regular people. Uh,
I like to
that's what-
feel special. I'm not even gonna lie.
so this man's name is Alexander Tolles. He's a prop master and an on-set dresser. Um and so obviously the puppetry, the stop motion, some of the stuff is up his alley. And so he got us in, and like we were, I was so enamored and awe with the exhibit because he was also like really hyping it up. He's like, wait till y'all see the figures, wait till you see how they did. Y'all, y'all,
It was worth it.
when I tell you, wait, Karen hadn't even seen the movie. Wait till you
Mm-mm.
see the fucking movie. Because when you see the movie, it's like, it's got to be a lot of CGI. It's got to be some new type of technique. um I thought maybe the models would have been at least like a few feet tall because they're so articulated. y'all
They were
y'all
tiny.
go on my Instagram. These things are so small, and they show you the filming of it, and you see
They
like
had to move
the little
everything.
fucking touches and how they just add up, and you see like they fast forward through the motion, so you see like
Mhm.
how painstaking the stop motion is. And it's just like even something like a little skipping through the woods has to take forever. It must take days to make. And it's just, oh, it was just so fucking um it was just so amazing to see the filming of it and to see the sets. They have the set designs in there, the character
Mhm.
designs in there.
That shit was
And
beautiful.
my favorite thing was like, it's not really a storyboard, I don't think that's the wrong term, but like the themes of Pinocchio and
Mhm.
like his life, like they had like a whole thing. And when you see, because like when I watched it, I felt a certain way and it had certain feelings in it because it's dark and it's scary, but not because like monsters and gore. It's because it touches on the things that we're afraid of: loss,
Mm.
tragedy, death, change, you know, being hustled, arrogance, abuse. It touches on these things in this deft way. And so to see them write it out on the board, and you could go through, it's like when he's a child he feels like this, when he's coming to when he gets a little bit older he's like this, when he's a teenager he's like this, when he reaches full adulthood he's like this. And oh my god, so that was we spent so much time in there. I took so many pictures. And then after that, honestly, I was like, I can go home. I don't even really like. I'll come back another time to look at 3 or 4, but like it's not gonna get better than that. Like, like that was the
Yeah, and I'm
highest
so
day.
glad we got to see that because with something like that, it's like it's not something that's there all the time. So after
Mhm.
a certain time, they'll move on to something else. And the dude, he was so nice. He said, "I'm gonna talk to you for a few seconds." He was like, "I bring my daughter here all the time." He was like, I
Mhm.
show her all this stuff and bring my family and stuff like that." And he was like, "I'm just gonna talk to y'all for a few minutes. So y'all can enjoy." And then after that, he disappeared. He disappeared like Batman.
Yeah, like we took a picture with them because I asked him. I said, "Man, I have to. Can we at least can we get a selfie with you? Because this is like one of those stories where it's just like I'm definitely gonna have to tell people because it's so cool." And so we took a picture with them. I'll make sure to post it on our social media. But like, it was such a random thing. It was just literally we
He
were
just
talking at the
overheard.
elevator. I was like, man, I wish this thing would happen. And just like Pinocchio, this
What's
wish
Pinocchio?
fucking came true. I was like Geppetto, like the wish came true, and I was a real boy for a little bit. And so yeah, it was, man, such a great time, such a great story. And um what like shout out to Alexander Tolles, man. That dude
Mhm.
really saved the day for me. And so then the next day we went to the Nintendo store.
Yay.
um I forget what made us go to Nintendo. I know I wanted to go, but I forget how we heard about the Nintendo store. I don't know if we drove past it or a coworker told. I don't remember. Do
I
you?
don't remember. I don't. Somebody may have suggested it online or something like that, and I was like, "Oh, they got that, baby." I heard they got Nintendo store. I think that's what happened. Somebody said something about Nintendo store, so I was like, I
I don't
googled it.
know.
I was like, "Oh, it's Nintendo store."
Like we may have driven by or rode by it on the way back or something. That
I
could have
believe something
happened.
like that.
But it was like, we should go to that. And so I was like, yeah. So we took an Uber out to the Nintendo store. And that's the other thing. We took a lot of Ubers, but this time, honestly, it was not necessarily distance for me because 20-minute walk, 25 minutes, not the longest walk in the world. But the wind was whipping. The wind it was not no
It,
walking wind. It
it
wasn't
was
no
not
let's be
playing.
hanging out. It was everything was very
That hawk
curtain
was
fast.
hawking. That wind was blowing.
So I needed some shoes, and then so I knew I wanted to go to the Nike store, and I saw that was very close to the Nintendo store. But we went to the Nintendo store, took pictures and stuff. We bought some stuff. I got some Nintendo jogging pants that, man, some of the best jogging pants I've ever had. What a weird thing.
They look so comfortable.
They were so comfortable and they
With
fit
the
so well.
t-shirts and shit. Yes.
Um so yeah, I got some Nintendo jogging pants, and I got a if for those of y'all that know Animal Crossing, the raccoon capitalist, I think his name's
Mm-hmm.
like Nuke, Tim Nuke. I got a pillow of his head, like a plushie, and it's so comfortable.
That shit is goddamn feel like cotton. It is so comfortable.
Yeah, and so we went in there and got that stuff, and I got a amiibo figure of one of the characters from Tekken. Um, I think it's Kazuya. Um, uh, and so now that's on my desk. But yeah, man, it was so fun, so
Nintendo store
cool.
was fun. It was bright. It
10 out of
was
10 recommended for everybody. Even if you don't buy anything, you just want to take pictures with
yeah.
Zelda and fucking,
And
I
and,
mean,
and,
with
and,
Link and
and
Bowser.
yeah, they want your money. And a lot of this stuff like the Nintendo store, you can literally can just walk around, take pictures, and leave. Like you don't have to purchase
Yeah.
anything. And a lot of people probably doing that just for just
But it's
the
hard not
experience.
to buy shit. I almost bought a
I
Switch
clear.
OLED just off of the GP of being like, man, I'm in here. I want to buy fucking Nintendo.
Yes.
And I was like,
I
what
don't
am I?
know what it is. They like when they say you go to places how they pump the cookie smell. I think they pump
Yeah.
nostalgia all through the building
Yeah.
because they was like, yeah, you want a Nintendo shit? We got it. We
But
the crack dealer. Buy
my
it.
adult sense kicked in and said you can't do that, and so I didn't do it because we already have a Switch at home. So I wouldn't just have another one in New York just to have it. So, and I probably wouldn't even have time to really play it like that. So I didn't get one, but It was very tempting, but I did enjoy the
Oh,
pictures.
that's the one, the upgraded one, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
OLED is a bigger screen. So then we start walking toward. I said, well, let's go to the Nike store too. And y'all, Karen was tripping. Okay,
I'm getting on your nerves. I
I
know.
don't
It
know
was my
what
mind.
the fuck happened. It's like we went from normal to just like this was the old school Times Square where the
Like, what is
fucking
wrong with
gangs was gonna
you?
come out. She just thought the Bloods and the Crips and all the gangs from the fucking warriors come out and play. Yeah.
I
She
was
thought
like,
they were
don't be
coming.
coming out here taking my shit.
Apparently the gangs in New York, they just want to rob people that come out the Nintendo store. Okay.
Because the bag was so big. I was like, this is a fucking Target.
Apparently she was, guys, I don't know what. I was like, Karen, it's Manhattan, it's Hell's Kitchen. I'm not saying no crime happens, but like
Right.
it's the middle of the fucking day. And if you gonna rob somebody, it's not gonna be for Nintendo sweatpants and Tom
And
Nook
the, and the Mario
plushies.
Brothers stuffed action stuffed animal.
Yeah. They wasn't walking around. Look, it was like, what do you think? The Koopas was out after us or some shit. Anyway, y'all, she was just moving shit around in the bag and stuffing shit different ways and stuff. I said, baby, what are you doing? She was like, well, I don't want somebody, it's sticking out the top. I said, so what? Like, they go, oh, a little piece of a t-shirt. Now I'm gonna rob them niggas. Like, what? Like the Cooper brothers gonna show up? The
I
fucking
was like, somebody gonna bump into
Hammer
us and walk
brothers,
away with it. I was like, fuck that. I was like, put it in the bag.
the Hammer brothers gonna show up. But yeah, she was tripping so hard, and we only needed to walk like 3 blocks to go to the fucking Nike store. And the things I'm more worried about is going into a store with a bag. Those are the things I worry about because I'm from the South. But I know y'all do that up here more, and so
Yeah, then we
nobody
do.
bothered us. There's cameras everywhere, so and
Right.
obviously we were on the up and up. But that's the kind of shit I worry about. But yeah, we get to the Nike store, and it's such a cool store. They got a big ass
It
like
is.
statue of LeBron in the front when you walk in, and all these moving like videos and shit in the background. There's a place where you can shoot basketballs in there and
And I think got
stuff.
like 5 floors. I was like, in the goddamn Nike store, is everything tall here?
It is 5 floors because everything in New York is up and not spread out. But
Right. Okay, I gotta remember
uh,
that because I was like, goddamn 5 floors for the Nike
and
store.
and one of the elevators was broken,
Yeah.
so we had to walk them steps. Because for some fucking reason, well, actually, the reason, probably theft. All the shoes is on like floor 5 or 4 or 5, so you got to go all the way to the top to get it. And so we
So they
went up
was
to the
like, look,
top.
by the time you get your ass down here, we're gonna be in a caught you if you
And
stealing
let
some
me tell
shit.
y'all, this shit is so fucking fancy for no reason. And the
Yes.
way the shit is cordoned off, because I'm like, it's like go to floor 2 for women, go to floor 3 for men, go to floor 4 for the shoe lab, go to floor 5 for this. And so the shoe lab is where you get your shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go to floor 1, look around. I'm like, I don't see no fucking shoes, and this is weird. Okay, you go to floor 2, it's just women's clothes and shit. So I finally just walked over to these dudes because every dude in there is just talking,
Right.
not really helping no customers.
They just walk around with Nike badges on.
Right.
It's like, you come get us if you need us.
And I felt like such an old man because I tried to figure it out on my own, y'all. I swear to God, I tried to figure it out on my own
Yeah, because
before.
that's how your mind functions. I'm like, excuse me, you work here, excuse me. I know me.
Yeah. But um I just broke down. I just went over to him and said, hey man, if I want to buy some shoes. Now, see, this is not a question I've ever had to ask in the shoe store before, especially in the
Right?
South.
Shoes is everywhere.
Because you just look up and there's a big ass sign to say this is what the shoes is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not in this motherfucker. Clearly y'all don't give a fuck about selling shoes. No one's tried to sell me any shoes. No one's walked over and asked
Yeah.
if I need any help. And I don't see no motherfucking shoes on display.
Yeah, they
Where
was
do I
like,
go
and
to
we know
buy
this
some
is a
shoes?
museum for a lot of people.
So he was like, oh yeah, man, just go to the shoe lab or whatever. I said, okay, cool. So we go up a couple floors to the shoe lab, and they have it where basically you don't even really need the people.
Mm-hmm.
You download the Nike app, log
Mm-hmm.
in, scan the shit. It tells you how much it is, and you
See if they
say
got the
this.
size.
If they tells you the inventory, and then it says sit in the designated area, and they just tell them to bring the shoes to you. And so that, and for the record, I love that. I love that. I'm a big introvert. I'm a big, if I ain't got to, I love the idea of them not selling me shit. Like,
Oh no, they
even
don't
as they
bother
were
you.
unhelpful on the other floors, which doesn't make sense. I feel like the people on the other two floors should be extremely helpful of pointing you to the other floor. They
Yes,
should
the
just be like,
shoes upstairs.
are you looking to buy some shoes? You want to go one more floor up. Like, that's all they
Right.
got to do. But I loved it. They brought it by. Like, I was able to scan which ones I like, be like what colorways they got, what size, how much it costs. And I got like a discount because it was my first time using the app, like 15% off or something, which just tells you how all the shoes are overpriced. But yeah, they brought them out. And because I wear a size 12 Nike, I've never had to try on a pair of Nikes before. They always fit. Only one time did they not fit, and that's when the stupid ass foam posits was out. Fuck them shoes. But yeah, so I got my shoes, got in and out, and it was great. And I loved that experience. And I was finally able to send my Kaepernicks back to the house because them heavy ass shoes making
Them
walking to
shoes
work
are
hard.
like bricks. I picked them shoes up. I was like, God damn, these things is heavy, my nigga. Like,
So that was what we did
oh, and
on
also
Sunday,
when
I
we
think.
was at the Nike store, all the people standing around with their badges, they all are like individual cashiers. Cause it was like, can I help you? He walked around and he had like literally they had like a phone hooked up to like
Mhm.
I won't say a battery pack, but I'm pretty sure it was like the cash register. He was like, beep, beep. You remember? Log in, beep, beep, beep. Okay,
Yep.
got the 50% discount. Beep, beep, beep. Would you like a receipt? Beep, beep, beep.
Yep.
All
They
right, here
used
you go.
Apple. They took Apple Pay and everything. It was the smoothest transaction
Mhm.
ever. Like,
I
I'll
was like, "Oh, y'all
definitely,
don't have cash registers," and that's why, because everybody got a cash register.
yeah, I definitely love that about that experience. And
Mhm.
a 10 out of 10 would
'Cause New
recommend it.
Yorkers got shit to do. They was like, "We can't be here all day."
The
Oh,
only thing, the only thing I did notice was it didn't seem. It's not like rack room shoes or some shit where like you could really go in there and find a pair of Nikes for like 50, $60. It seemed like everything in there was like at least $100.
oh yeah.
So like they didn't really seem to, like, maybe I didn't look around long enough, but I didn't see no just regular ass Nikes. Like, they weren't
Mhm.
all like collectors shit, but it was like, I think the lowest prices was somewhere around like $120 or so.
They was like, "You came to the Nike store. Like, why would we have anything on sale? We seen that shit to the other stores for them to put it on sale." They was like, "We don't do sales here."
Yeah.
I was like, "No."
So that was Sunday for the most part. Of course, we watched The Last of Us episode 2. That was great.
Yes, we did, and
Um,
it was really, really good. The Last of Us is really good. Even if you don't play the video games, if you like horror type of stuff, and it was like I said, it's nothing too graphically
mhm,
not so far. Is really enjoyable. I enjoyed that a lot. Oh, and also when we was at the MOMA, some people was in front of this is only in New York. Some people was in front of us with a stroller slowing the line down. And next thing I know, I heard the person that was like the person that was checking people in was like, "Hey, move it! You holding up the line." I was like, "Yeah, you only go get that in New York. It wasn't no confrontation, anything. It was like, move your ass, you in the line."
and you also went to Mom's Kitchen again, which we talked about last year. Great restaurant right up the street. I love Mom's Kitchen. You went to Mom's Kitchen with Jess when I went to work the next day.
Monday. Yes, I had a good time because I was like, well, Monday my last day, and I wanted to do something else kind of around the city while you at work.
Hmm.
So Jess was like, she was like, I'm free. We can get up Monday. So we ended up getting up Monday afternoon, and we went to mom. It was so good. We had some macaroni and cheese. It had bacon on it. Yes. And we had some tater tots, and we had like this like chicken sandwich that had like this delicious aioli sauce. Oh, it was so good. And they had like a side salad. And we ended up splitting that and we had a ball. And after that, I got to go to the Lego store. That was so much fun.
Did you buy anything, or you just went in
Yes,
there and
I
said, "Oh,
bought something. I bought a magnet. Oh,
mm,
and I tried to buy because I like to collect magnets. So I
mhm,
tried to get a magnet from a Nintendo store. They was actually sold out. So I didn't get a chance to get a magnet. But at the Lego store, you can get two types of magnets. You can get a magnet that you can literally put it together and like
mhm,
build it like a Lego set, or you get the one that was pre-made. I went ahead and got the one that was pre-made.
yeah,
And the ones that's pre-made, they was like, hey, if you want to add to it, they was like, you can literally add to this Lego if you want to, kind of because this extends out. They was like, you can add more to it, like it can hold a good little bit of stuff. So I bought that, and that was all I bought from the Lego stuff because the other stuff was like 500 pieces, 1,000. I didn't want to build no Lego set like that.
all
That was
right,
not the purpose. But I wanted to go in there and I saw characters from like the Lego movie and just was laughing at me because I was like I was two when I seen the dude from the movie. I started saying everything is awesome. I was like I want a picture. So I was that person walking around singing song and at the Lego store, the Legos fucking blink their eyes at you and shit. I was like, oh
right,
shit, because I was doing something, and next thing I know, it started like blinking and smiling and shit. I was like, oh shit. And when we had went, oh, and also when we had went to when we was at the Lego store, the actually we seen like a Mario and Luigi one, and it actually started making noise and talking to you and shit. That was actually really, really neat. They had a big ass taxi that you could actually sit in. There was like all the whole thing was fucking Legos. So I had a ball just taking Lego pics and all that stuff. Then after we went to the Lego store, we went down the street to the American Doll store, and that place was neat too. American, I want to say American Girl Doll or something like that. If
mhm,
I'm not, if I'm probably butchering the name, but people that in the dolls and got little and got children in the dolls, they know exactly what I'm talking about. And so we went there and we like took pictures of the baby. Do you know that they have like a salon where you can get your hair done and the baby doll get his hair done and actually charge you and charge for the baby doll too?
that's crazy. No, I
Ain't
didn't
it
know.
though? They had like little small chairs and shit where the
Mm,
dolls would get in there and get their hair done, and you could like get like all types of shit done, and like it was wild walking around that place, and
mm,
like American Girl doll, she do everything. And they had them in sections. Like you walked in the certain section, it was like all like medical. So it was like American doll is an ER, the ER, a doctor, a dentist. Like you named it, they had it. They had multiple races and things like that. And some of them dolls were sold out. Some of them dolls had like stickers on it. Was like, I am sold out. So I was like, oh, okay, you is sold out, honey. And the thing is, because I seen them online, but I didn't know how big they are. They do have them in different sizes, but I'm like, oh, these are a lot smaller than I thought they was be. I don't know why, but I was like, because when you see them online, they look huge. But I was like, oh, these are a lot smaller than I thought they would be. And you could buy like the clothes, and they have like background stories on the walls and things like that. It was so much fun walking around the American Doll place. And then after that, we trucked back, and I had a really good time. And I was actually going to Uber from the mom's place. And Jess was like, "It's literally right up the street." I
yeah,
was like, "I don't know nothing about distance." And she was right. We
yeah.
literally walked there in no
Like
time,
5,
and we
it's like
walked back.
5, it's actually when we go to Scintillate, that's the corner you make the turn from, is Mom's.
Oh,
So, like, you can
oh,
go if you walk to Mom's and then make that turn, then you go to Scintillate. So,
oh,
yeah, but, yeah, a lot of this stuff is close once you figure it out, but, yeah, I when I was here, I also did the same thing. I fucking Ubered to the Times Square movie theater, and then once I got there, I was like, "Fuck, I could have walked this," and then I walked back. Like, yeah, I should have walked. I
yeah,
did,
yeah.
but I didn't know. I didn't know, and I didn't want to be late to my movie or get lost or something.
Right. And also I am so proud of myself because I bought my heavy coat that I had bought
Mhm,
for going up there. And shout out to that coat. That coat served its purpose because
mhm,
before I got up with Jess Wood, I wanted to buy some cookies. I was like, oh, what's the best place to get some cookies? So I went to a place to get some cookies. I don't remember the name of it. Start with the S, and they was like, it's like
It's
ranked
like
like
Schmaggeries or something. Schmaggeries,
something like that. And I,
Schmargeries. I don't know. I'm looking at the
yes,
box right now.
yeah, I don't know how to spell it or whatever, but
Oh, it looks like Schmarkeries.
or something like that.
SCHMACR. I don't know. Schmackeries or
Greece
something
or
like
something
that.
like that. And so
Yeah.
everybody was saying that it was really good, that and like a Lithonia or something like that. I don't remember the name of
Mm.
the other one. And everybody was like, yeah, those two places are some of the best places, for cookies. So I was like, you know what, I'll truck down there. And so shout out to my coat, because out of all the times I was there, this was the first time it was actually really cold and like rainy.
Mhm.
And that coat was like, yeah, bitch, I'm gonna keep you warm, and I am rain repellent. So me and that coat got out there and got to getting it in that rain, and it
Mhm.
did its job. My hands got cold, so I kept my gloves in there. So I pulled out my gloves, and I actually have a better sense of direction down there. Cause I was talking to my cousin. Cause I told him, I was like, I was going in the wrong direction. He was telling me how to read the numbers and stuff like that. So I come to find out, because I had turned on the app before the walking app before I got down. So it told me to go left when I should have went right. And so I was walking. I was like, these numbers is going in the wrong direction. So I just
Mhm.
was walking and just turned around and went. I was so proud of myself because I wasn't that far off. So I turned back around and went the other way. And honey, the rain was beating up on me and the wind was beating up on me. And my big girl coat was holding tough. It was like, you know what? I got you. I was like, see, bitch, this is why I spent the money on you. And I was joking online about I'm almost a real New Yorker, because don't ask me why, but the news crew was like in the middle of the sidewalk and shit. I was cold. I was trying to turn back around. I walked right on through that shot. And I didn't even say, excuse me. I was like, I'm proud of myself. I didn't say, pardon me. I was like, bitch, I got things to do. And why are y'all set up in the middle of the fucking sidewalk? And so
Mhm.
I walked right off past them and kept it trucking. That might not be big to y'all, but that's big to me. I was like, let's go, Karen. You didn't stop. You didn't say, excuse me. You didn't say, pardon me. I was just like, no. What I'm not
No.
going to do is have you disrupt my stroll while I was trying to get to the destination.
Did you
And
say I'm walking here?
I should have. I should have. I walk in here. Why y'all in the way? So I was so proud of myself. So I got to the cookie place, and they had Rice Krispie treats with Captain Crunch in it. It was absolutely delicious. And you wanted some chocolate chip cookies. All the cookies were absolutely delicious.
To me, we'll definitely have to do a separate lip smacking good about some of the stuff we ate this time. Because I also found like a new soup place that I want to Karen to try that makes like this. It's almost like pho or something. I forget what it's called, like mala noodles or something. But oh god, they had this one soup that is so fucking good. My god, yes. So we'll talk, and they had these noodles that are like peel noodles, PEAL noodles, and god, it was so good, y'all. It was so good. So we'll definitely do a lip
Oh,
smacking good at some point, just so we can talk about some of the food and stuff.
yeah, and also I seen a post sad bear in New York Giants jersey getting rained on. That poor bear. I guess they turned on the bear and left him outside. I put a picture on my social media. That bear
Mm.
looked so sad and so wet. I was like, oh, they didn't even bring him in. They was like, fuck you, bear. I was like, oh, poor
Yeah.
thing.
So yeah, we definitely we'll talk about the food at different juncture on Lip Smacking Good. That's pretty much it. I figured we should just do this recap and get it out the way so that we don't have to do it later. And is unless there's any more things you need to add, Karen.
I don't think it is. The flight coming back was really good because my flight was so early. I don't even think it was 20 people on the flight.
Mhm.
And I got like a whole lane to myself because
Cool.
they was like, yeah, nobody there.
I probably
And
schedule my flight back for a day and a time like that because less
it
event.
was it was really really nice. Oh, and I read the boardroom coming in, because the flights go from Charlotte to New York like all times. And so I got to the thing and it was like already boarded. I looked at the lady and I was like, I was like, why say my flight already gone? She was like, oh baby, you at the wrong gate. Because when you go up, you can look up there and it tells you, because I know sometimes the gates and shit that they change around. So I looked up at the board. It was like, Charlotte, but basically the same
Mhm.
route, but it was like not the gate that was on the ticket. But it was completely different gate in the same general area. So I walked
Mhm.
up to her. I was like, did I miss my flight? She was like, no, you didn't miss your flight. She was like, you in the kind of in the other direction. So I got that together and got on the flight and went nobody. And when I landed, I landed, and you know how normally you walk through the thing and it tells you, hey, uh the baggage is loading and all that stuff. So I walked up and down, and I never seen a thing that was like, "Hey, from Charlotte to LaGuardia, your luggage and stuff." So I was so confused. So eventually, I walked up and down, and I finally went to the place where they do the baggage problems. Like if you have problems. And I went to the last. Can I ask you a question? I was like, I'm looking for my bags. I was like, and I hadn't seen them roll out yet. I don't understand. And she was like, yeah, you were the only one that had a bag. So you might I didn't know. She
They
was
must
like,
have a light in the morning.
yeah, she was like, everybody else had carry on. She was like, you were the only one that had a bag. So she was like, you might miss it. And so come to find out, when as soon as I talked to her and turned around, my bag was out there. So I think because it was only one bag, they didn't turn the bed on, like, and they didn't they
Oh,
didn't post it across the board. They
oh,
rolled it out there because when I turned around and walked out, it was just sitting there. It
okay.
wasn't rolling around a dolly or anything. I was like, oh, they probably was
I'm
like,
glad you got it.
right. There was probably the fuck I'm gonna turn this whole ass belt on for one bag to roll around. They was like, Mister
Right.
rolling out there to you. Which I was like, okay, so because I turned around, I was like, oh, that's my bag. Because when I clear 3 minutes ago before I talked to that lady, that bag was not there. Cause I was just
Yeah.
looking. I was expecting to be like, dan. You know how you go through the whole
Mhm.
shabam, but I didn't realize I was the one bag on the plane. So they was like, we're not wasting electricity. Oh, and they have literally remodeled Charlotte Douglas. You know all this expansion shit they doing. I, I felt like I was in New York again. Cause when you left, and it may have been because may have been like at the further part of American Airlines. You walked, and then you walked, and then you walked, and then you walked, and then you walked again, and then you went up the elevator and you walked some more, and then you had to figure out, which direction the bags was really in because they had to divide it up by um uh airline. And then when you got there, you was like, okay, I'm finally here. And I was like, oh, they probably doing this probably because, not trying to funny, they probably running around the country. It was like, we're doing it bad. Yeah, we really are doing it bad. It's a longer walk, but because I'm used to the larger cities, I was like, this is nice. You kind of pushing everybody in one direction, and it wasn't that bad because, like I said, I'm more used to it now. And when you leave, they actually have like a separate area for the Uber drivers now, where you don't have like the the
Yeah.
the pickup for the family and the pickup for the
That's
Uber
good.
people.
They should have
All
been.
all
I'm,
yeah.
I'm glad that they remodeled it, and I'm glad that the stuff is taking effect because I know they were trying to rush them in before the holidays, and they didn't have time, and it was slowing everybody up. So I'm glad that happened. I'm glad that I can't wait to use that airport when I return home, and hopefully be
Mm-hmm.
an even better
It's
experience.
baby, it is so much better. The pickup was a lot smoother, and they have it in like four sections, and I didn't know that. They was like this way, so I actually crossed past it and went in there to the rental car place. I was like, I don't need no hurts, nothing. Why am I in the rental car place? So then I had to turn back around and go back across the street to realize I was all I needed to go down was to section 4. But I hope they make them signs better, because if you don't know that, you actually just go across the street to the rental place going, do I get the Uber here? Then no, you don't get the Uber here. And so I'm actually glad that they divided up so family and friends and me getting Uber wouldn't be messed up, you know. So I sent a thing to your mom and she was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Yay, I'm glad it's working." And your mom followed it because as soon as I
Yeah.
got in the house, she was like, well, I see you at home." So I'm glad. So I'm here and I'm safe and I landed early this morning. And so I've been home and I miss you.
I miss you too, and I'm glad you came up and stayed for so long. And it was just nice to be around you and to come home to you and stuff.
Mhm.
And like I always say, you make places home, and so it
Oh,
was it was I'm gonna miss you, and I'm just gonna grind, and then see you again soon. And um, I did forget to mention that I put my Bo finally read my draft of the piece that we have coming up for Super Bowl weekend, and he was super excited. He like stopped by to tell me like I did a good job, and so I was
yay.
super happy with that, man, because I really worked on that thing. But it's it's like I said, man, it's like I started writing and I started remembering like, wait, I'm good at this. And
You really are good at it.
uh, for him to like take the time out to stop by and be like, "Hey, man, this shit is good." And I'm never in love with my work too much because I think too many hands have to touch it and too many things have to change for me to feel too entitled to what I do. I'm just a piece of a cog that's making something, an
Right.
important piece, but I'm still a piece of a cog in a machine that's making something. And but knowing that he already was on some like, yes, this is this complicated point, and the angle I chose of like how I imagined him telling people, he was like, this is how we would have to do it, and you nailed it. And I was just like, good, like I'm doing good work. And so looking forward to y'all getting some more game theory. And I think if there's one thing I learned from last season is we're always getting better. And so I can't even imagine what episode 10 is going to look like compared to episode 1 of this season, because episode 6 of last season to me was light years ahead of episode 1. And I thought episode 1 was great, and I think and I worked my ass off on that shit. And even now I'm like, if I knew more, I would have made it even better. And I think that's what we're doing this season. And so I can't wait for people to see how this shit goes. And yeah, I'll just reiterate one last time: if you come out to the show, and you want to take a selfie or you want to say hi, let me know. I'll try to make a habit out of stopping after the audience is let out and just seeing if anyone's out there, because I definitely am not trying to be rude or standoffish and whatnot. And if you cared enough to fucking make that
Right.
move on a Friday for lunch, I mean, shit, yeah, I gotta come say hi. That's the least I can do. So thank you.
It,
Um,
it was
mhm.
a fun experience. If you've never been, it was actually a really fun experience. And I know you had talked about the new studio while I was away for a
Yeah,
second. But the studio is nice. Drew Barrymore, she take care of the stay at home moms. You sat in that bitch and your ass kind of sunk into the
yeah.
softness.
We had
Oh,
to sit there for the rehearsal to make sure, to kind of give them an audience, and it was like, yo, this is nice. I could sit here
hmm
for hours. So
yeah, it, it,
yeah,
it, it
man.
it was
Y'all
nice.
come check it out. And that's it, man. Like, we probably won't do another one of these regular shows till possibly Saturday. Hopefully we'll be able to get in at least Balls Deep Sports and pregame. And if we're not, if we're lucky, we'll be able to get in Nerd Off on Friday. We'll see.
Mhm.
Big nerd news happening. I saw Justin Roiland just got dropped from Rick and Morty, and they're going to continue to make the show without him.
So
And
happy. I
they're
was
going
like,
to hire some
please.
voice actors to do Rick and Morty's voices, and I could not be happier.
Right. Like,
So shout out,
don't fuck up everybody else's money because you jacked up. I
yeah,
hope they do
dude.
that for solar opposites too. Cause I was like, don't fuck that show up either.
It's like Squidbillies when they put Tracy Morgan in for the voice of Early Kyler. I was like, you know what? I'll accept it because I love that everyone shouldn't have to suffer because this dude. So all
Right.
right, y'all, that's it. I'm tired. We've been up since 5 in the morning.
We
I didn't
have.
get to take a nap really, so I'm gonna edit this and put it on YouTube. And you know, until next time, and as always, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah.
Mwah.
Bye, everybody. Bye,
Bye,
baby.
everybody. Bye bye.